Chats with Luke Coutinho have built my mindset so much.
There is life and death in the power of the tongue. Today, we're doing so many things. Journaling, yoga, 10 minutes of prayer, great. But I'm not feeling what I should be getting out of all these practices because we're not aligned with the field. But look at people who are at peace with themselves. They're just making these micro changes in the field of energy. That's how it works.
What's been the most fascinating aspect of your job?
I have this fascinating case. She was 72 years old. She had already gone through almost 35 chemotherapies. When she first came to our clinic, she didn't look like someone who's gone through 35 chemo. Her hair was perfect, her skin was perfect, she was smiling. This lady didn't know she was getting chemotherapy. Her family was just telling her, you're getting IV vitamins. That's how powerful the placebo effect is. But when we feed fear, that is our biggest disability.
Why are there more people who are thinking about even if they're not at the peak of their own sadness?
One is a genuine chemical imbalance. Young boy, everything going well. One day shoots down 16 kids. They found a letter in his drawer just saying that of late I don't feel good in my head. When they did an autopsy, they found a tumor in his brain that distorts decision making to a point that it can be violent. But I think the strongest men are the ones who can be vulnerable. It's so important for us to do that today. Do you know how many men heal when they start to express their emotions? The healing is unbelievably miraculous.
Chats with Luke have built my mindset over time so much. Thank you for being back on TRS.
Absolute pleasure, bro.
Hope this studio and this podcast always makes you feel like it's your home.
I remember this is our first place or second place that we had our podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels that way.
Yeah, you're one of the few guests who's been to multiple studios of ours. And on a very personal level, this is one of those episodes I've not prepped anything for because my conversations with Luke usually happen only when we're shooting. And I like keeping it that way because I've learned so much from you. I've learned so much from you over the years. I remember seeing you when I was, I think, 23-ish for the first time. And I learned energy from you. I learned what kind of energy is called good energy in this world. And I think that especially when you're at that stage of like early 20s, mid 20s, you're understanding the professional world, the real world, you need examples of the right kind of people around you. And you need to have the ability to download what's right in them into your head.
It's true, yeah.
Then I remember seeing you as not even a podcast host, but I did this interview with you in Carter Road Social. Yeah. And I asked you behind the scenes about how to get rid of my pimples.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
And you helped me so much over time. You've helped me get fitter. You helped me get healthier. But the most important thing I think you've given me is like the right kind of mindset. And it's related to something I've painted outside my room. So over to you. And I would love for you to begin with that sign and what it represents for you. Because that's, I think, my biggest lesson I've learned from you over the years.
Ranveer, it's great to be here. I'm so happy when I saw that message out there. There are two kinds of people in this world. People who, constantly look at self-help, they read, they talk, but no action. And then there are people who are in that journey of life. They learn, we make mistakes, we have great times, and then we put everything into action. When I stepped into your home today and I saw that wall with those words, it touched me. I mean, those are all the powerful words, and I didn't tell you which sequence to put them in, but the sequence that you put them with Providence at the top, I know we spoke about that. It makes me really happy to see these actions coming into your life. It's a pleasure to be here always with you. You say you learn from me. We've learned a lot from you as well. Not just your podcasts, but all of us are in a journey of life. We've gone through stuff, and you've gone through some pretty hard times. You've gone through pretty great times, but with everyone observing you and seeing how you've come out when life throws us those really tough cards has been a learning and inspiration to a lot of us. So I wanted to actually, really, really congratulate you on that and express our absolute fascination for the way, your lessons come out in the most vulnerable way. So thank you for that.
No, thank you,
Yeah.
brother. Thank you. Back in the day, before podcasts were a thing, for 4 years, I was constantly creating content. In my final year of creating content, pre podcast, my main theme was this thing called mental fitness.
Right.
And I didn't even understand what I was doing. But I think it's been one of my most important chapters in my own content journey, because the truth is that life will be difficult for everyone,
Yes.
but you need to have something called fortitude backed by providence.
Right.
And that's exactly what I learned from you, that have the ability to build that mental fitness and believe in the concept of providence, because life will be difficult and you need to be able to pole vault past that difficulty a bit. So I'd love for you to re-explain what providence is first.
Great. So this is something that I learned from my dad, and it worked for me. So I shared it with you, and I shared it with everyone else that comes across my life path. Providence is this energy of abundance if we can see it without the filters of always being in lack, the filters of scarcity. I never have enough. I'm looking at what everyone else has, and I can't see providence, which means what I already have. Providence are these things that are in our life right now, given to us by a higher power. Okay, I'm not going to get religious, nor am I going to get spiritual. But there's providence in everyone's life. And we only come to know of it when we start to really recognize that we have it. Like if we have a family that's healthy, someone who's healthy, someone may be sick, there's providence. It's not like everything in your life is going bad at one point. So a lot of the scriptures, you know what I love doing? I love studying all the scriptures together. I may be a Catholic, but it's just a small part of my life. You know, there's commonalities between every religion and every scripture written. And they also talk about abundance and providence being together. When we have a mindset of abundance, which means, hey, I may not have enough right now, but I truly feel that I can have enough without the struggle of, pulling down people, trying to be greedy, bringing in all those negative emotions, we start to recognize that, hey, there's providence, that, hey, when I really needed something, it came into my life. That's providence. There was no effort put by you. You didn't do anything. It just flowed into your life. That is providence. So, for example, you got that last minute seat on a flight. You were struggling, but suddenly the airline called you up and say, hey, there's a seat available. Do you want to book it? Book it right now. Providence. No effort, no nothing. All of us, when we align to providence, we realize, number one, there is a higher power. Number two, that sometimes we just got to stop trying to be in control of everything and everyone, because number one, we're not. Number two is we can only feel providence and actually even welcome providence in our life when we stop trying to chase and be in control all the time. So that's exactly what providence is. Sometimes people are so grateful for the little things. Like, I have a 4th stage cancer patient, and this patient has such a positive attitude. Such a positive attitude. It's 4th stage. We don't know how long the patient will live, but every day she's like, but I have so much, Luke. I've lived 70 beautiful years. My kids come and meet me every day. In fact, now they spend more time with me. She's so grateful for the things that she has that she had 2 months left to live. Today, it's the 3rd year she's living, and the doctors are just go home.
4th stage cancer got reversed.
It's not reversed. She still has cancer, but she had 2 months to live. She's living for now the 4th year. Providence. And she says, this is providence. And we believe she has it because, of course, she's got medical treatment, she's doing lifestyle, but her mindset is one of abundance. I do also see patients constantly on the negative. Oh no, this is going on, this is going on. Those energies don't really serve us.
Yeah. I have a couple of things to say, man. So everything that happened this past year, I think it's affected my family way more than it's affected me. That's how it is, right? Like,
It is,
as in
yeah.
when your family members get affected, you definitely get more hurt than they do. Because the person who's actually affected has to stay strong for the rest of the pack. I think my sister's all right, but I think my parents are just very sad and partially angered. So it's kind of resulted in the situation where every time I speak to either of my parents, they try coaching me. And that actually triggers me like a lot because I don't want to be coached. And that's that one space where I get to be a child again.
Right.
But I used to get to be a child till before this last year. Now it's like it's just coaching. And it's caused like some friction, and I've had to tell them that please, please, please don't do this. But I also understand it's human predicament. And I'm really trying to detach myself from this. And on some level, I'm really hoping that this reaches my family, this particular conversation.
Right.
So,
Let me break it down for
yeah.
you. All right. There are two ways. No one's right and no one's wrong over here. I mean, your mom, your dad, they still have, and they will always have that protective instinct for their son. All of their thought processes are coming from one. What got threatened? Safety. Not just physical, emotional, mental. Look at what's happening to our son. So, human tendency is immediately, how can I fix it? Okay, we're the parents. We should coach, we should train, they're doing it from an intention to make sure this doesn't happen again. Now, what's going to happen is no amount of coaching can prevent what will happen in the future. At the same time, let's look at it from your aspect. Okay, you need that space to be that child again, but you're getting coached, which is why there's some amount of friction. What you require right now and what your parents require without coming in the middle, in between their paternal instinct to protect you, is just two words: understanding, acceptance. And this gives you the third thing: hey, listen, we got your back, we're always there for you. This is when families come together. Of course, they want to change you, coach. It's like any parent telling their kid, no, don't do this, don't do this. They're not doing it to show authority. They're mostly, and there are some parents who do that. They want to maintain authority, But most parents are genuinely concerned because they want to be in control of the future, that nothing happens again to you. You see, that is the biggest issue in today's world. People want to be in control of the future. Humans don't like uncertainty because it threatens their safety. Like, let's go with the Air India crash. Didn't it affect everyone, like so massively? Why? It threatened our safety. That, hey, we fly all the time. It could be us. It could be our family member. There's so much of rubbish happening in our country every day, violence, etc., etc. But that particular incident, it shook everyone up because it threatened human safety. So your parents are just responding with a new behavior according to a circumstance that happened. Understanding is such a beautiful thing. Understood. This is part of our life journey. There is a spiritual lesson for them and for you. And it all comes down to acceptance. Yes, there are certain things that I can maybe, make sure these things don't happen again. I'm not talking about nothing that you do, but parents. But the closer the family is, finally, what does every human being crave for? A sense of belonging. In your case, it's to be that child again with your parents. Validation and attention that, hey, yes, and that I got your back, which is nothing but love. So I feel I would really want you to, because in our previous conversations, I want you to take that step forward and actually over here be the bigger person. Your parents are coming from protection. You have to come, sit them down. You got to communicate. When you communicate, more information breaks down bigger problems. They will understand where you're coming from. And you should be able to tell them, I'm not liking this. It's not helping me. If there's something great, good. But now I just need family time. I don't want to be coached anywhere. I want togetherness. That itself is very healing.
I'll try going one layer deeper in this. So
Sure.
I've tried having those conversations 4 or 5 times. And this is the 6th or 7th time it's happening.
Yeah.
So I just politely told my parents I just need some space now.
You've done the right thing. At some point, when things don't work out, we need to create our own space respectfully. It's called detachment, not abandonment, which means it's not like you never speak to your parents, you don't go to them. But yes, you take your space to heal because you don't want to be that person saying the wrong thing or hurtful thing to your parents because you're so triggered, the fact that they're not yet understanding you. And honestly, if this ever reaches your parents, my advice to you, I'm sure they're elder than I am, but with my experience of dealing with so many people, giving you that space will actually be healing for you and for them. But come back quickly as a family. It's always nice if you all can, be in togetherness in the same space that's positive for both of y'all.
Yeah. I think I'm echoing a very common situation that happens to a lot of people my age specifically.
Yeah.
Early 30s, where you begin seeing this aging parents problem.
Yeah.
And then you kind of accept on a human and societal level that people in their 60s are now set in their ways. How they look at the world, how they look at lifestyle, etc. At least from my viewpoint, I think it's very difficult to change the way someone lives life and the way someone thinks once they've hit their 60s. But I would love for you to shatter this thought pattern in my head. Is there any way to change someone's mindset post age 50?
There's a beautiful thing with spirituality. It happens in phases of life. Early 20s, people probably don't give too much of focus to it. But as people age, they tend to naturally get more and more spiritual. Again, it's the whole thing of embracing lessons. Spirituality teaches people acceptance that, hey, things don't have to be my way. Maybe they were great when in my time, in my generation, but I have to keep an open mind of acceptance to what is happening around. I may not like it. It may be going against my value system or, the kind of perspective and mindset that my parents set in my mind. But you are absolutely right. There is a massive requirement for the generations, and I wouldn't say 60s. There are parents in their 35s and 40s trying to control their children and teens, and there are young parents in their late 29s and 30s trying to control their kids and teens as well. So it's always coming down to the baseline, wanting to be in control. Yes, they're looking out for you. They have the right to, say certain things, but they want to be in control all the time. It's also the same. I want to give a fair perspective. Take someone in their 20s. A lot of people in their 20s are also stuck in their mindsets. They're only conditioned by what they see on social media. They're only conditioned with one perspective. So that limits them from also seeing the world or people or behavior with a different purview. There's a lot that both generations can learn from each other. In fact, now we're at a stage where I say the generation above can learn so much from the generations, the Gen Zs, millennials, whatever those terms are. I don't like using terms because it puts people into a box. But there's so much that they can learn from the youth because the youth has so much more exposure. They have that ability to, think differently. So they have fantastic ideas. And I think both have to learn from one another. It should never be just using authority or I'm your elder. There should be respect. I'm a massive fan of respect, but openness to discuss, thrash out ideas and talk. There is so much that you can learn from the youth today, and there is so much that the youth can also learn from the generations above.
We draw out 2 columns, and could you list out things that the youth can learn from their parents' generation and vice versa?
Let's start from the youth. Okay? I always say, first, my message to the youth is learn from the mistakes that the generation above made. Like, don't become victims and consumers of, like the generations above have made all the junk that y'all are eating today and getting sick on. They've developed all the latest new drugs, alcohol, all of those things that are wrecking up society. Who invented social media and everything else, right? The generations above. My point is, it's great. It's also destroying this generation. It's bringing people to suicidal thoughts, helplessness, hopelessness. Again, figure out who built that for you. The generations above. Okay, but we can be those game changers right now. I would love the youth to learn from the mistakes that the generations above have learned. I would also like the youth to look at, okay, I know it has to be a two-way process, but respect is a beautiful thing. Okay, and I understand sometimes you'll find it difficult to give respect to elders because they disrespect you. So I completely understand where it is. But at the end of the day, I think respect is such a beautiful thing, not just respect of other people, but respect of ourselves. So when we feel disrespected in life, we go and abuse ourselves with drugs, alcohol, over-socializing, etc. It's like a self-abuse that comes because we don't respect ourselves. But when we respect ourselves, we learn to, we have that certain power that, hey, there's a line I'll draw. I'm not going to go completely out of track. I think the youth can also learn a lot from the generations above in terms of what really went into building powerful empires, etc., etc. But don't do it at the cost of your health. The generations above built a ton of money that the generations below now have, but they lost their health. They lost their peace. They didn't spend time with their families. They didn't spend time with their kids growing up. So it's really about the youth looking at this like a mirror. What are some of the things that the generation above really did well that we can learn from? And what are some things that we should not learn? We should change that. You see, every generation will have a change. Like this generation has a lot more wealth than the previous generations. But what I foresee, this generation will have a lot more cognitive and mental problems. They'll have everything in the world.
You're talking about the current young people?
The young people. Because they have a lot more. Many of them don't really have to work too hard like the generations above. A lot of it is handed down. But they'll have other problems that the generation on the top didn't have. They'll have social media, cognitive decline. They'll have social anxiety because they're all connected with the virtual world rather than real people. So all I'm saying is there's no one right or wrong. Let's learn. I want the youth to look at the generation above. What was good? What can I learn from that? What mistakes can I avoid?
Okay. There's nothing that I can ask you on a podcast that's not already been asked you with respect to physical health.
Right.
Like, there's nothing more you can say. And this is what we were talking about before the camera started rolling, that what's actually needed are the basic boring things that everyone knows about:
Correct.
exercise, sleep, clean food, etc. I'm sure even you're bored of like saying this again and again.
I'm bored of people not taking action. I can go on speaking about it for months and years, but I get bored when people don't take action. Everyone knows what they have to do. You made changes. You got the foundations in place. You got your yoga going, your strength training. You made changes in your diet. You just put in the foundations. You've not. And I'll tell you, even though he knows me, he can WhatsApp me anytime. He's never come for complicated stuff that, hey, can I do this? Can I do this? You've just got the basics in, and the basics have worked. So it comes down to discipline and consistency.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a narrative about the world of anime and why Gen Zs are drawn to anime more than they're drawn to like Hollywood or Bollywood films.
Yeah.
And one of the core themes in anime is probably the most important life skill, in my opinion, which is overcoming boredom and overcoming difficulty.
Yeah.
This ability to overcome what looks boring and this ability to overcome what looks difficult.
Yeah.
I think that that's the most important skill in life, and that's what allows you to do the basics consistently, even through the bad phases. And I went through like the worst year of my life, but what got me through it was just doing the boring things again and again.
Consistency.
Yeah, there were so many yoga sessions and exercise sessions where I was so sad. I was probably crying during the yoga sessions, but I just kept doing it.
Yeah.
And that kind of got me out. It healed something on a physical level, which I'm sure created much deeper forms of healing on an internal level. And my big hope is that people see this journey and understand that once again, it was all the boring physical fitness stuff that pulled me out.
Yeah, it is. It's always going to be consistency, even in our most complicated medical conditions. It is the consistency of the patient doing those same things, whether they like it or not. They just take the emotion away and say, hey, I got to do this, like brushing my teeth. Like, we never think, is it boring? Is it not? It's actually really boring. Think every morning we get up, but we don't think about it because it's in our subconscious mind, because we got there through repetition, repetition, repetition. So once we overcome that, and why is this boredom the biggest problem? Because our dopamine centers have been hijacked with all the, whether it's scrolling, social media, getting to things too quickly, food in 10 minutes, desserts in 10 minutes, everything in 10 minutes. Like, we're so used to getting everything when we want it. Our dopamine centers are so hijacked that being bored is actually very, very difficult.
I'd like to take a tiny pause here and share this one Instagram post that stayed with me. I don't even know which page it's from. Okay, but it's related to what you're saying about dopamine, and dopamine's become a very common conversation nowadays. So it basically draws out this spectrum of dopamine, okay? Okay, yeah, I don't remember where I found this particular post, but this is the post. So it ranks worst dopamine spikes up till your best dopamine spikes. So some of the worst ones are porn, binge drinking, gambling. Then it goes in the yellow zone. Late night revenge scrolling,
Yeah.
constant pointless phone checks, eating processed food, and the most kind of easygoing bad dopamine spike is getting angry at strangers on the internet. Okay, then it goes into a green zone. This is where it gets really interesting for me. The green zone begins with embracing boredom and destimulating,
Yeah.
the most important life skill, and then it goes into reading fiction and non-fiction books, swimming in the ocean, completing challenging workouts, cleaning your home first thing in the morning, and then hyper green zone, spending time in nature, contributing to others, and the greenest of the green, mastering a skill.
That's good. Yeah.
How far can you go on the green end of the spectrum?
Yeah.
That's how large your quality of life will be.
So if you see, everything in the green was more alignment to nature. Nature, which is flow, which is harmony, non-resistance. Above is resistance. Every one of those highs come with a resistance. I know I don't want to do it, but I'm feeling so good, let me do it. So anything that spikes dopamine the quickest, will be always at the top of the red, which is why it's going to be cocaine, etc., etc. Whatever spikes dopamine the slowest, that's why we're always slowed down in nature. Whether we like it or not, people slow down in nature. Why? Because there's no stimulation for dopamine to behave erratically.
Yeah, please correct me. I would actually like for you to disagree with me on this. Um, I'm an engineering grad and I have a tendency to look at everything in the form of mathematics,
Yeah.
including work, and this narrative about why engineers can transition to other careers. Same logic that you mathematicize everything and look at everything from a systems perspective. And it's been a life skill. I just wonder if a high quality of life is also just simple mathematics
Yeah.
and the ability to embrace that boring black and whiteness of, hey, these are the macros I need to put in, these are the grams of protein. For example, another version of mathematics within life would be what we spoke about at the top of this podcast. Providence, which is believing in a higher power helping you. That's also a life skill. But the more you station yourself with the concept of providence and the more you actually cultivate gratitude in your heart, chances are the more good luck or career opportunity or randomly big career spikes you attract into your life. So everything seems like mathematics to me.
See, again, I won't disagree with you because what you're saying is absolutely right. You're just probably unaware of what goes around the circle of mathematics, which is the quantum. So when you break down quantum physics is not physics alone. It has a lot of mathematics as well. So you see, there's a large part of you which will think mathematically. Nothing wrong with that. But what I want to add, which you're already experiencing, is there is a quantum field around. Otherwise, why should you believe in providence? Does it make mathematical sense? No. Does it feel good? Great. Where does that feeling come from? Math or energy? So when you break down today, that's why quantum science today, whether it's at the top universities across the world, Stanford, etc., it's become a huge subject. Like, again, let's talk about the breakdown of our healthcare system in India. I think India is sitting on the richest healthcare system if it's not so fragmented. Imagine if everyone integrated. You got the best of doctors, the best of nutrition, the best of training, the best of sleep, the best of mental health, and you stitched a system together. We're sitting on a powerful healthcare system, but it's not powerful because it's fragmented. Now take the same with math, physics, and everything else. Mathematics can get a rocket up into space, but without understanding the quantum field, it's impossible for the rocket to launch. So it's about integrating systems together. So you see there are two categories of people who will stay stuck in this is only science, this is only math. Very limiting for them. And there are people who will open up their minds, use science, use math, but also understand that there's a quantum field holding everything together. So I won't disagree with you because you're absolutely right. But what you keep experiencing, okay, there's a lot of quantum energy that really, really exists.
How do you explain that to a young person who's just begun to fix their physical health? I think a lot of Gen Zs are actually in that zone of life.
Yeah.
Whoops are becoming much more. This is unbranded again. Whoop has not paid me a single rupee.
Whoop's not paid me, nor has Apple. Yeah.
And you wear both, right?
Yeah, but wait, because I'm always looking at data, similarities, and correlations. Yeah.
Recommended to wear wearables?
See, there are two ways. Again, it's your mindset. I have some clients who base their life on this. They wake up in the morning, look at their readings, and they get stressed out. I use it as a benchmark. It can never be 100% accurate. Maybe 5 years down the line, the more data sets that are collected, the more personal information it collects from you, it gets more accurate. But don't kill your intuition as a human being. So for example, if you wake up and one of your wearables told you you're sleep deprived, but you're feeling amazing.
Yeah.
You're feeling super. Who are you going to listen to? Your intuition. So that's my only take. It's great for some people, and for some people it stresses them out.
Okay. Back to this quantum field conversation. So for someone who's just started to fix their physical health, okay, and actually we've got Akki in this room. He's mic'd up as well. He's co-hosting. I'll throw the ball at him and let him ask you a question related to this quantum stuff, even if you didn't understand it and all that. What's your Gen Z question?
So actually, for now only, if we talk about this entire season, a lot of young people are getting into, something like running or something in general fitness as well. It's something called winter arc that a lot of people are getting into from December to February arc. So a lot of people are trying to go to the gym, to wake up early and do it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but then at the fourth week they're all,
Lose their motivation.
yeah, losing their motivation.
So you could answer that and also kind of give some downloads from this quantum conversation. How do you make it palatable for a young person?
Absolutely. So let's look at this. It happens every year. Gyms are full between the 1st and the 10th. So I work out at Taj Lands End. That's where our clinics are, etc. and stuff. I have a workout time at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, specifically because I see 10 patients in the morning. I like that 1 hour break, go work out, and then see my balance patients in the evening. 12 o'clock is selected specifically because the gym's empty. I came back from the US, second, went to the gym at 12 o'clock. It was full, buzzing. The next day, it was full and buzzing. I was like, I don't like this anymore. I spoke to the trainer, no disrespect. Like, is there a better time? He said, Luke, just wait for 10 days. In 10 days, it's going to be empty and yours again. And he just called it the January syndrome. Now, let's break this down, okay? It comes down to mindset. That one thing in our mind, resolution, set a resolution, which gives people the message that in December, from Diwali onwards, right up to Christmas, just go loose. Because from January 1st, okay? Now, this is all not math. This is an energy of thought. We all know our thoughts are not mathematical. They are purely energy-based. So I've already put that energy in my, from 1st Jan, I'm going to hit it. And now you start doing it on the 1st of Jan. But obviously, this was not really motivation. It was just a mindset that's gone around for years and years and years, and you couldn't keep up with 10 days. Rather than putting a resolution, break it down. I always tell people, start on the 20th of December, not the 1st of Jan. And just give me 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes. By the 10th of Jan, you're consistent. Forget the 1st of Jan, forget the resolution, enjoy your Christmas, enjoy your Diwali. But it shouldn't be dependent on something. My health is dependent on the resolution I make. So if I have to speak about quantum energy today, every thought, if I say something to you right now, I can change your energy with my words, with my tone, etc. There's no math. There's no math involved. Okay? It's an energy. How am I changing the energy? Okay? My words will have a meaning that you perceive or a tone. All right? All of that is energy. No math again. All right? If I want to add a little math, I can change my frequencies. I can screech. I can have a baseline voice and abuse you. I can say whatever I want. So I can put a mathematical calculation to frequency and tone, but not energy. That's quantum. Now, in that quantum field, based on all your thoughts, wounds that you may carry, my words will either hurt you, inspire you, or just not like me anymore. That's quantum field. So let's bring it down to make people understand macros. Of course, we can go into calculating exact protein, exacting. But again, what's happening in the quantum? Everyone has an app today that they can calculate their macros. Everyone's doing their best. Is everyone reaching their health goals that way? The answer is no. What's the quantum really telling us? But look at people who are at peace with themselves. Yep, I want to get my protein right. I want to get my macros right. Okay, fine. Of course, certain people like bodybuilders, pro runners, you have to calculate their macros. It's their sport. For everyone else, no. They're just making these micro changes in the field of energy. And the quantum field is allowing them to do it. Now imagine someone calculating their macros but stressed out all the time. Oh no, it's lunch. I need to eat exactly 40 grams of protein. Oh no, I'm going to fly. I didn't get for it. Do you think you can get that health benefit when the body's in a fight and flight response? Absolutely no. So people have to calm down and relax. You want to count macros? Yes. What is it giving me? Look at 1 week of data. You calculated your macros. It worked for you, got some changes, go, continue. No change. Is that the right thing that you're chasing? So we look at math, we look at logic, we look at science, and then we look at the field around us. So it is so important for us because your subconscious mind, which you believe in hugely, is nothing but the quantum field. If I think upping my protein can give me more muscle, look around. How many people are doing these high protein? Shouldn't we see so many more muscular people? But we're not. We're not seeing that because there's a big disconnection between science on paper and actually putting science and action into a quantum field. That, hey, my body may not need a very high protein diet. My body may need also an increase in my carbohydrates because I'm carb efficient. Carbs push-ups influences my testosterone itself. So many people go on low-carb diets, high protein, testosterone falls, they're not putting on muscle, body fat isn't moving. So you got to consider everything. So that's the easiest way is the field. Today, we're doing so many things. We're trying to get it right. We're journaling, we're doing our yoga, we're doing our 10 minutes of prayer, etc., etc. Great. But I'm not feeling what I should be getting out of all these practices, because we're not aligned with the field. If I've done 10 minutes today of spirituality, okay, and I want to focus on kindness, how many times today can I inject kindness into my actions or with someone else? Now I'm taking my math, my science, my learnings, and I'm integrating it into a field. That's how it works. That's why they say there is life and death in the power of the tongue. Every religion talks about it, and it's studied in medical science as the placebo effect. You tell someone, oh, you're going to die in 2 weeks, mostly that patient will die even if they were not, which is why placebos are real. It exists around a field.
It's like you visualize your own positive or negative outcomes.
Absolutely.
That's what having a positive mindset or negative mindset is about.
It really is not even that, because the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between positive and negative.
Yeah.
It's what we make it. The subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between a truth and a lie. So if I see something and I want to see it as positive, that, okay, I got this condition in my body, I got this pain in my knee, but if I'm only seeing it negative, but hey, yeah, it is. I want to work on it. But hey, I still can walk, I can run, I can do so much, I can do so many things. I've just changed the way my subconscious mind looks at it.
I'm going to take a tiny snapshot of this past year, and I don't like bringing it back to my story, but I'm the podcast host. So, I think people listen for this story. The day after the controversy broke out last year, we had a podcast scheduled with a very high profile Nihang Sikh leader, and he had flown in from the UK for the episode. So I had to do it. And I couldn't shoot in my own studio because of the chaos that was going on. So I went and shot in a friend's studio. And my EA, who's also been the producer for the show for a very long time, he was there. And he was kind of looking at me with like concerned eyes. And all I was doing was thinking about the episode, trying to do a good job with the episode, and trying to figure out what I'm going to do in the coming 1 year. And physically, I kept doing this. I kept doing like a boxing move. And all this is on camera. And I didn't realize I was doing this until we sat to edit the documentary that we're building about that phase. When I got to thinking about why I was doing that punching motion, it was because of seeing so much wrestling, UFC, boxing, anime when I was a kid. That's my metaphor for overcoming strife, fighting back. And it kind of developed into a subconscious element and got me out of this phase. That's what kept the discipline going. But you just keep fighting back. You keep being resilient. It's okay. Take 1 day at a time and keep fighting back.
Yeah.
It was a very tiny change from my childhood and my past, which affected my present and my future. The larger point I'm trying to make here is that what I understood from your quantum field theory explanation is that you need to be very conscious of the people you're surrounded by, the content you consume through social media, and the influences of your own past.
Yeah.
Positive thinking is probably the most important life skill in any life situation.
Yeah.
Anything you'd like to add?
Absolutely. So you gave a beautiful example. And the point is, because you were only thinking about the podcast, doing a great job, and the future. There's a part of you that's trying to fight back to come back, to reclaim everything post that. That came out from your subconscious mind. No one told you to do those boxing moves. Most of our behaviors come from our subconscious mind. Most of them. So to add to what you said, which is very powerful, think of the subconscious mind as a sponge. It is absorbing everything. We can't decide that, oh, this reel will affect me or not. It's already gone in your subconscious mind. Now, what you keep thinking about, once it's in your mind, will become more dominant. So if I saw a particular, episode, or I saw something, and I keep thinking about it, that's going to become more dominant in my subconscious mind. So if I've also absorbed some negativity today, the best way not to let it become more powerful in your subconscious mind is bring mindfulness to every time that comes up, just replace it. Think about something else. Because our subconscious mind becomes as powerful as the repetition of thought. So if I keep thinking about positive or negative, it's going to become positive, negative. That's how it is.
How are you tuning your subconscious mind at this stage?
I'm very, very mindful about what comes in, because I'm absorbing patients' lives and sufferings and their stories and abuse every single day.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
You always try to find a root cause in integrative medicine, because once you have the root cause, you can treat it. Conventional medicine treats the symptom. We try to find a root cause. Take the medicine. Please listen to your doctors. But why are you getting sick? Why are you getting a headache all the time? Why are you getting pimples all the time? Why aren't you not losing that stubborn belly fat? Once we find a root cause, you can put the structure and plan. So when you get these cases out of the blue, it sits with you. You start to think your safety is threatened. If this can happen to anyone, it can happen to any of your loved ones. It can happen to your children. It can happen to your parents and stuff like that. So what I do when we teach our team, you have to have a de-stress mode after your clients. Don't meet people. Don't 10 minutes. You got to just separate the two in the mind. Those are other people's stories. Separate it. Don't make it your own story. Once we make someone else's suffering our story, even when we're helping people with suffering, what is compassion? Compassion is not making their suffering yours. Compassion is the wisdom to know that I can be there for that person. I can give kindness. I can do everything to make that person feel good. But I will not make their story my story. That is so important for us. We're so entangled in people's emotions today that we make other people's suffering our suffering, and that's why you have a massive sprout in anxiety.
Yeah, I think this is the difference between empathy and compassion, which
Big difference between two.
I used to assume is the same thing, but it's exactly what you said. That compassion is the ability to feel what someone else is feeling and help them if you can, at least through your own energy.
Yeah.
But empathy is to just dive into the pool of their subconscious mind.
Yeah, and don't make it your story. We can be so compassionate. Sometimes I can be compassionate. Example, I'm using person A as an example. I don't like this person, but this person doesn't really influence my life. What am I going to get out of hurting you? I can hurt you. I can go on social media. I can put up crap about you. I can even give you compassion by just not doing it. It's still compassion from my end. I don't have to like you, but I'm not destroying you. I'm not going to pull you down. And I can still feel like a great human because I gave you the gift of compassion. So there are so many ways of looking at compassion so holistically. Sometimes compassion is as much as I want to say something, I don't. If I say it, is it going to change my life? Then go ahead and say it. I don't want you to become a doormat either. But if it's not, it's just for the ego or pride. I can exert compassion by just not saying it. It doesn't make me a smaller person. But inside, I become much larger.
I'm sure your job has, it goes without saying, everyone's job has an impact on their life, but I think your job has had an even bigger impact on your mind and life. I'd love to know from you what the most fascinating experience of your whole career has been, helping so many people recover, heal, grow. If you could highlight like one particular case, it would be great. And generally, I would just love to know what your consciousness has digested as the most fascinating aspect of your job.
So I have this fascinating case. She was 72 years old, all right? She had already gone through almost 35 chemotherapies. When she first came to our clinic, I had to look to see if the right patient had come. She didn't look like someone who's gone through 35 chemos. We know how people look that way. Her hair was perfect. Her skin was perfect. She was smiling. She was, whatever, gone through 35. So I separated the family, her, etc., because there was a note that, the family wants to speak to you separately. I spoke to them. This lady didn't know she was getting chemotherapy. Her family was just telling her, you're getting IV vitamins, IV minerals. Now, based on science, chemotherapy will cause certain side effects because each chemo drug is built differently. Certain chemos deplete certain sets of vitamins and minerals, and because you have that depletion, some have constipation, some have diarrhea, some have hair fall immediately. A lot of them do because it's your fast dividing cells. But this case has challenged every bit of science. The only difference was she didn't know. She was getting it. She didn't know she was getting it. That's how powerful the placebo effect and the social and our subconscious mind is. So what we started doing is we recorded one or two very simple guided meditations and visualizations for our patients before they take their chemotherapy. Because everyone goes and takes their chemotherapy, but fear, of course. You know about it. Your doctors have told you about it. We make them visualize the opposite. It's not called false positivity. We just say, with this chemo going in, I'm on an IV for the next 2 hours. It's growing my hair. It's making me feel strong. We're just lying to the subconscious mind. My conscious mind knows I'm getting chemo. But I'm building my own visualization of the outcome I want. I promise you, it's on our website to see the stories of people who have said, look, I walked out of my chemo feeling like it was not chemo. Now, we're not here to, build this airy-fairy, picture around it. But the point is, it's the power of your mind, and everyone has that ability to use it the way they want to. But when fear comes in, and everyone should have fear, but when we feed fear, that is our biggest disability, because we never make the best decisions from a space of fear. So we can have fear, but fear has to be followed with right information and right action.
I think the downloaded lesson I'm getting from this is about the power of visualization again.
Yes.
what you tell yourself, how you look at life, how you look at your body really becomes a reality.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a silly question, but how do you think one can increase the power of their own visualization?
It's very simple. I'm happy you asked this because most people fail at visualization and then they just say, oh, it's crap, it doesn't work because they didn't do it the right way. Visualization is not just like, if you ask me, affirmations are literally useless. They're useless without the emotional charge. So if I'm going to say, I am healthy, I feel healthy, and I just go on repetition, it's nothing. You're just going to get really good at reciting the affirmation. But if I put an emotional charge, what does that mean? I am healthy. I feel healthy. I need you to create that charge that I'm getting there. I'm feeling it. Emotional charge. People are affirming or visualizing abundance or success. But the emotional charge is the opposite. They feel, oh no, I can't do this. I'm trying to micromanage everything. Visualization is pure intention, the vision that you want with the emotional charge. So you should be able to see whatever you're visualizing with the emotional charge. Like, how's it going to be when it happens? Most people are putting the vision, but I'll feel happy when it happens. I'll enjoy my life when my cancer goes. I'll enjoy socializing when I lose weight. You've put a condition. There is no condition in visualization because that's quantum. There is no condition in energy. So the beauty of visualization, it's the simplest thing. And again, I will answer this right now. It doesn't have to work for everyone because we are not on the timetable of anyone in this life. Some things, like, I'll be honest with you, all the things I visualized which have not come true, today when I look back out of it, it's really good that they didn't come true. They were not meant for me. So again, there's a quantum field protecting me. Okay, I wouldn't say all. One or two I still wish it happened, but there's no regret. It's just like, okay, I don't know why it didn't happen. But all the things that have worked for me through visualization, it's fantastic. I can tell you right now. I mean, like I said, I don't, when people come to me, I'm probably the least qualified in my team. The least. I have the most basic training when it comes to nutrition and my work. I have PhDs in my team. I have doctors in my team. I have MSCs. They're way more qualified. I'm not ashamed of saying that. But the point is, my belief system of how the body works, what needs to be done, and me challenging why haven't other systems worked before and filling that gap is what works. I had a vision in mind with an emotional charge that this can be done. So visualization has to have the emotional charge with one more last point, surrender post that. You can't visualize and you can't go on, when is it going to happen? Let me micromanage it. You have to surrender. Doesn't mean you don't do the work. Go back to the work, the actions that you must influence and take. So 3 steps of visualization. Number 1, clear vision of what you want. It's not like, okay, no, but I could have this. Okay, no, I want this. Clear vision. Take your time until you have that clear vision. It could be just, I want to be healthy and happy. How does happiness and health feel to you? You got to feel that before it comes to you. That emotional charge. And the third, surrender. Because the surrender adds to the quantum field that, listen, I'm not in control. I trust everything to now come together and put the vision together. It's not going to happen magically. You're still going to do your work. You're still going to have to be in the right places, right time. But you trust the process of life.
I think words fall short when we try explaining what emotional charge is more intensely. I got what you're saying, and I've observed you over the last decade. That's been the one kind of standout thing about you, that you really bring out what's inside to the outside world.
Thank you.
And I think that's why your team's grown the way it's grown also. You've watered their plants through your own emotional charge. I also think it's probably one of the most important life skills. My partner yesterday was asking me about why I'm serious so much.
Oh, I get that too all the time.
Like,
all the time.
okay, and she was like, "Oh, you always like this?" I was like, "No, I think something's happened in the last decade. I've just..." I kind of joked and I said, "It's this industry. It's made me sad." But that's not what it is. I think there's just too much thinking going on inside. Because maybe I'm trying to emotionally charge a lot of what I want from life on the inside. Which is also what kind of scares me about starting family life and all that. That damn, will I be able to be a fun dad in the middle of this pool of seriousness, which is also required, man.
Yeah.
I think honestly, and I speak for a lot of guys my age and women my age also, feeling lost kind of for the first time in life. I don't remember. I think I felt like this last when I was in college. You don't know how the real world is going to be. This is that second jump, pre-family life, next phase of career. And again, when I find myself in these kind of mental soups, I go back to your example of starting your career at 34. That's another thing I'd like absorb from you, that the Luke Coutinho that we know also began his career when he was 34. So I don't know, what do you have to say about that? Because this is a larger problem of quarter life crisis, which is happening more and more nowadays.
I actually love the question. See, I think it's beautiful for us to have all the negative, parts of the human frame. That's what makes us human. See, let me break down your case with my example. I love leading by example. And again, my example doesn't have to be other people's stories. I could be a fun guy too a long time ago. I can't today. I've tried to think, is it my ego? Is it my pride? I don't want to spend people. It's not. It's just that a part of my mind, and I don't mean this, I can say has become a little bit eccentric when I'm very choosy about where I want to spend time.
Yeah.
Who I want to give time with. If I'm going to really have fun, I mean, I'm a Goa boy. We did our parties through raves on beaches. We danced from sunrise to sunset. That's why I could never fit into a club culture, could never understand how is there no nature, no full moon. Everyone's dressed to impress. No one's themselves. Everyone's, you know what I mean? The point is, I want to go back to those days all the time. But I want to be very selective about where and whom. I'll tell you why. Because what we do shapes us. I'm speaking to patients who have a few days left to live. The one thing that it's taught me that your time in life is finite. It is your most valuable asset. Your most valuable asset. So now I've reached a point where people are, Luke, you don't smile anymore. A lot of my patients tell my team members, Luke is so serious. Does he ever smile? Does he? And a few of my team members who, know me, I have another side. But at the same time, I'm not at this stage in life that I like small talk. I can't give my time for small talk. I can't give my time for people who are not talking about anything that stimulates my mind. Now, there's nothing wrong with them. It's just that my mind has been shaped by what I do. My mind is always looking for things that can create things that I love to be in awe, in curiosity. So conversations that are shallow, not to put down the other person, they don't stimulate me.
For example, what stimulates your mind?
I think people who are talking about stuff that can make change, that can bring impact, that can make change. And even if you're having fun, what kind of fun? A lot of people's fun is defined by talking about someone else, talking who got pulled down, laughing at someone pulling down someone else. I can't do that. Whether it's right or wrong, it doesn't stimulate me. It makes a lot of people happy, and I'm not here going to steal their happiness away. But for me, when someone says that, hey, did you know about this case? It was a third stage cancer, brain tumor, shrunk, etc. I want to dive into it. It's curiosity. It's not because I love the subject. So, I mean, my idea of fun is I still love to have fun, but I think what I'm seeing in you. So when I see this thing, if I'm too hard on myself, I am going to put my category. I feel lost. Am I getting older? I'm not getting older. Age-wise, maybe I feel amazing inside. In fact, I feel each year I'm actually getting better and better than my 30s and all of that stuff. But the point is, I don't think it's lost. I can say I have become a little eccentric. I'm very, very clear about who I am as a person. Respect is way more important than attention for me, way more important than validation. These things, thankfully have never mattered to me. So it's easier for me right now. So when it comes to you being lost, I think it's a beautiful phase where life slows you down and actually makes you answer difficult questions of truly you, not as a podcaster, not as a to-be husband, not even as a partner. What do you want in life? I'll be honest with you. Everyone getting a kid is not a game changer. In fact, today I actually support a lot of the Gen Zs and stuff. If you don't want to have a kid and you're clear about that, please don't take the pressure from the generations above. My first question is, what are you getting a child into this world? Look at the pollution. We're unhappy. We're sick. And we're bringing them into an environment which I would think this way today. So I actually support a lot of them when they say, because their parents come, Luke, please teach them values, teach them this, make them get married, make them up. Sorry. I agree with them when their intentions are right. They don't want to lose freedom. So I want to come back to this beautiful space that you're in. First of all, don't make it negative. Make it beautiful. Some of us have to get lost to find a way. And maybe it's an important part for you to slow down right now and really figure it out. Why do you have to be a fun dad? Why do you have to be I think a loving dad is all a child needs. And then you find, because, when that love is, it's unconditional with a child. I can openly say it right now. All my exes, all girlfriends, whatever I've been in, my wife, my mother, whatever it is, Okay, have I given unconditional love to them? No. I've never known what unconditional love is. Even my mother, I love her, but I still do I still will put conditions. I will be that childlike, throw tantrums, want it my way, etc. That's not unconditional love. I learned unconditional love when I had a child. Unconditional. Whatever it is. She can lie, she can commit a crime, whatever. I'll whoop her ass when she's non-disciplined, etc. Not physically hit her, please get that off camera. But you know what I mean. But she knows my love is unconditional. You learn these things through life, and then you realize everything around, there's so much stress on relationships. Oh, the love has to be unconditional. It's a stress that makes people go crazy because it cannot. And if there are couples out there who have unconditional, cherish it, value it, you're blessed, you're amazing. But I don't think that should be a necessary guilt. There will always be conditions. You will have conditions set with your partner because you're a podcast, you'll have to travel, you may miss family time sometimes. There are conditions. She'll have conditions that it's a family, I want you to come spend time. These are conditions. So it is going to be part of everything. But when we try to hold up the ideology of love, that it should be unconditional, we're chasing something unrealistic. Better to work with the conditions. Fun dad. Everyone can try to be a fun dad. But, in fact, that's going to be my next post 3 days later. Because I deal with children and young teens who come to us with cancers, eczemas. I separate the parents from the children. And I ask them, what do you really want from your parents? And you will be surprised what children and teens want. It all comes down to, I want more time. I want a bedtime story. I want more cuddles. I don't want them to travel so much. I don't want them to spend time out. It just comes out. No one has said, I want an iPad, I want a gadget, I want a PS, whatever, and stuff like that. It comes after this list. I would also like it if they got me a video games, whatever. But all of this, the commonality, this is what the soul is craving for. Now, the beauty is, take this question from teens to even young adults and senior citizens. They want the same thing. A senior citizen, the only thing they want right now is not their children's money. They want their children to spend time with them. I understand it's difficult. I'm not putting pressure on you. But these are the core ingredients that the human soul wants. So I would define our success being, can we keep those core ingredients strong in our life while we go ahead and build and aspire to build?
There's this question I've been wanting to ask you probably since the last 2 years. I think a couple of years ago is the point where we recorded our last episode.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's kind of related to this quarter life crisis thing, and it's kind of related to something very serious we spoke about before this episode began, which is this concept of taking one's own life, which is becoming, for whatever reason, a most spoken about thought. Of course, not everyone goes through with it. Now, there's a whole spiritual angle on how that's possibly one of the heaviest karmic things you can do. It's like murdering yourself.
Yeah.
So it's the equivalent of murder, because probably the heavens got a plan for you and you're interfering with that plan. And then there's this large category of people who get the thought of the act of suicide, obviously never act on it, never will act on it, but they question why they're getting their thought. Mm-hmm. And we see a lot more of this nowadays. I see this in my own bro group, where some of them will come and say, yeah, you know what, I've had that thought, man. Kind of recently, and there's nothing wrong in my life. But the larger question that they're trying to answer is the other way of asking you this question. Mm-hmm. So if I had to ask you this question, simply I would have asked you, hey, Luke, what's the meaning of life? What's the meaning of living? Mm-hmm. But the more difficult way to ask you the same question is, why are there more people who are thinking about suicide even if they're not at the peak of their own sadness? What's happening in society?
Okay, great. So let's look at it this time. Everyone has a different definition of the meaning of life. The simplest way to look at it, because we don't want to put people in boxes. Everyone's life's going to be different depending on their childhood, their finances, what they went through. Some children have gone through child molestation, some have gone through bullying, etc. So we can't put everyone in a box and give them a pep talk saying, be happy, you have one life, be scared of karma, etc. Religion and spirituality have found their way to gracefully tell us that, it's something that you shouldn't be doing. And they're right, but it weighs down as a heavy guilt on most people. So the point is, when we look at life and the meaning that all of us have, our life is currently the meaning that we give to it. We all have life in us, we're alive. What meaning have we been able to give our life or extract from our life becomes the definition of your life meaning. So if you've given your life meaning through compassion, love, purpose, etc., etc. That's the definition of your life meaning. If you've given your life meaning through always being a victim, always complaining, living in scarcity, the lowest vibration, trying to pull down one another, all of that stuff, which is rampant in today's times, okay? That's the meaning of your life. Now, when it comes to taking your own life, you see, there are three reasons which are root cause. One is a genuine chemical imbalance or a physical imbalance. Let's go back to the story. I want to take 2 minutes to tell you the story. Okay, I don't remember the name or the specifics because I love these stories. Young boy, excellent, university in the US, growing up beautifully, apple of the parents' eyes, teachers, growing up, church choir, etc. Everything going well, all of that stuff. Married, beautiful family. One day goes by his gun, goes to university, stands on the roof and shoots down 16 kids. They found a letter in his drawer, okay, going back 3 months, just saying that of late, I don't feel good in my head. You know, I don't know what's happening with me. I have dark thoughts, but I'm feeling good. I'm also feeling happy. I'm feeling amazing. I'm feeling loving. No one could pick up these symptoms, all right? And he wrote at the end of the letter that I offer my body. I don't know. I feel something bad's going to happen for an autopsy. When they did an autopsy of this young man, they found a tumor in his brain that was pressing against a part of his brain that distorts decision making to a point that it can be violent. Now, what do we call this? There was no hopelessness. There was no helplessness. He had no suffering in his life. It was a physical tumor that was causing the problem. So my advice to people is the moment you start to have feelings like this, the first thing is to talk about it because most of us don't understand our own minds. The first thing we'll go and do is we'll go on to Google, ChatGPT, we'll try to correlate. But when it's the human mind, so one is a physical, two is a chemical imbalance. Some people, no matter how much they have in life, how things are going, if there is a chemical imbalance, like in a bipolar patient, in a schizophrenic patient, they are not in control. They need medication, they need counseling, etc., to stabilize them. The third, when life throws us the cards that leads us towards helplessness or hopelessness, chronic, not a little bit. I'm feeling helplessness today, etc., etc. No, I'm constantly feeling helpless, hopeless. This could have been caused by certain wounds, childhood wounds, betrayal, hurt, rape, etc., and all these wounds because they've not healed. They lead us more and more into these stages of helplessness and hopelessness, which was the final thing is that I just don't want to live anymore. Now, I will also throw light on the other part, the people who don't follow up through it. We should treat them with genuineness, but a lot of people use it to seek attention, validation. They just want that attention because they've never got it. Not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. Like, children throw tantrums. Why? They want attention. Adults throw tantrums. Why? They also want attention. A wife throwing a tantrum to a husband or a partner, let's not even talk about marriage or whatever, or vice versa, is nothing but an indirect call for, hear me, see me. I'm here. I want attention. It's a tantrum. Sometimes people go to that last stage because it's the ultimate. Everyone will suddenly give you all the direction in the world. Like, you know what heals a lot of my patients? When they get really sick, the family starts to spend more time with them. They start to thrive because they never got that time with their families before. So you see, it's a very dark subject to talk about, but I want people to understand that the first thing you need to do, even if it's the slightest, you got it once or twice, you figure it out yourself, good. Just let someone know about it. Because dealing with the human mind is a very complicated thing. And as much as we, especially men, love to be in control, we don't want people to know that we're weak, that we're thinking these thoughts. But I think the strongest men are the ones who can be vulnerable. Of course, they don't go emotionally crying over the internet and crying to everyone and stuff like that. That's emotional instability. But you have the courage because you have responsibility. There are so many people dependent on you. There are so many people whose lives will be affected if you take your own life. So I should be vulnerable enough to say that, hey, listen, I have a darkness in me I cannot control. I may need help. I just want you to know about that. It's so important for us to do that today. The generations above, and this is one lesson that the youth should not learn. They think they know it all. Control. No, I know it all. They never went for help. You know how many of them could get better if they actually took therapy or counseling and they learned to release their emotions? You know how many men are contorted with anger and rage, and because they've come, and it's not their fault. That's how their generation trained them. You know how many women heal when they start to express their emotions? The healing is unbelievably miraculous. And it's documented. It's documented in medical journals. Just expression. I'll tell you, you find any person who gives you the gift of hearing, real listening and hearing, you will find a part of your heart automatically gets attracted to them. I'm not talking about physical, etc. That can come, because that's what we're all craving for. Someone listens to you. You love that person. You want more and more of that person. It's such a powerful gift because that's what we're all yearning for. So I think when it comes to taking your life, I would want you to know it's a difficult world. Social media is also, like if people are, I always say, if you're a victim of social media, don't be on it. It's going to consume you. But if you have the right mindset, strong, I know what I'm consuming, I know when to stop, I know when I'm overdoing it, go. It can help you build businesses, etc., learn so many things. But speak to someone if that thought comes. And if you start feeling that your behaviors are changing, I mean, today, come on, we spend a ton of money on everything else. Go get a neurologist, get an MRI done, figure out what's going wrong in your brain, because we are having abnormal growths in different parts of our bodies today because of the kind of world we live in. Adulterated food, pollution in the air, our DNA is changing, mutations are happening. So I don't want people to omit the possibility of a physical issue in the brain as well.
So this inner darkness in society is increasing partially because of physical factors that you just listed out.
Mostly mental. Physical factors would lead to a physical symptom and an emotional symptom. Like, I don't know why I'm doing this. Let's see. Truthfully, I did something like this. I hurt someone, whatever. I know the reason why. I was jealous, revenge, etc. But I actually start doing things that I can't control. Physical.
Yeah,
you check that out.
You mentioned tumor. Got me thinking about cancer and about how we had Dr. Putambekar on the show some time ago. And I'd asked him that, does cancer kind of happen gradually? And he's like, yes.
It's true.
You can pick up on signs that you're more prone to cancer. He said muh ke chhale, like sores in the mouth.
Yeah.
He named a bunch of factors. But that was something that stuck with me. It's something so tiny. I have friends from college who used to get chhale even back then. And I see those same friends now, they're very bitter about life. And I kind of know what's happening in that person's body distantly because of what I've learned through the show.
Yeah.
And they're not changing their emotional patterns, etc. But cancer is something that develops over time. Dr. Putambekar, yourself, any cancer expert, everyone says that these are gradual things that happen in the body and can be prevented over time because of lifestyle factors, but also because of emotional factors. So in this conversation about darkness, we're kind of highlighting the emotional factors more. And you're saying that very often it's quality time spent with other human beings who are ready to listen to you. That's a big healing factor, right? It kind of makes me think that have we become bad listeners in society?
Very bad.
Right?
Most of us. I think you're blessed if you have someone who can listen to you. I mean, there are counselors, there are therapists, but I'm saying, non-professional. Like I believe, if everyone could master the gift of giving, listening to someone, it can change everything. It's a human requirement because we're always trying to fix a problem. We're always trying to listen. Our minds are working so fast that we want to give the solution. Or we're not genuinely interested. We would just move on. But just listen. I think it's such a powerful healing gift.
It correlates with this whole concept of the world getting lonelier with time. And it brings me to another much larger concept. I don't know how you feel about this whole anti-aging and longevity conversation. Speaking about longevity, I've had narratives on the show where people say that, anyone who's alive and under the age of 50 right now could very well live till 120 years because of biotech advancements. That's great. And I'd love to know what you think about the biology of all this because you're also in this category of under 50. But if you're truly living till 120, 130 years of age, I think it opens up a whole new gamut of mental health problems. No one thinks about that. That means your marriage is probably going to be 100 years long. You're going to have a diamond marriage anniversary. What do you think of this whole conversation?
Again, it comes down to understanding the quantum field. What are we chasing? What are we chasing? Think about it. instead of people trying to improve their health span, your lifespan is a product of your health span. Yes, there's a lot that we can do. Now, there are two issues that I have with this whole thing. I think it's beautiful. First of all, the goal is wrong. How many people actually want to live to 120? Some do, many don't. They're just happy. When I go, I go. All right? It'll bring its own problems when we have to live to 120. A lot more. Many, many more problems.
Will it be possible, biologically speaking?
I don't want to say no because there are advancements, but let's look at the data. I'm a fan of science and data. There are two sets of data that we have right now. The blue zones, the longest living people who are actually living long, 104, 105, 106. And what they have done has been scientifically studied, broken down, restudied over and over again to come up with the top things that have let these people live to 104. So we have a real live data set talking about it. And then we have a wannabe data set talking about 120 as a promise. If you buy my product, you do this, you take these supplements, but there's no proof it's happened to 120 at all. Now, the person pushing this, if that person, I hope he lives to 120, but if he dies at 70, 80, 90, what happens? What happens to everyone who invested in the wrong things? Now, I'm a fan of longevity, cold plunges, red light therapy, when you have the foundations in place. What are the foundations? What we learn from the people who are living the longest. Sleep, great social connections. You don't have to have great health. Most of the longest living people have either gone through a bypass, they had diabetes, but they overcome it because their health quality and span was so good. Good nutrition, social connections, feeling like they belong to a community. These are their data sets. What's the other data set of people pushing life to 120? NMN, NAD, IV treatments. It doesn't even correlate to what's being spoken about in the life sets. So now I want people to step back and think. So what would I do? Would I embrace the new biology? Yes, but I will first check if my foundations are right. There is no point taking IV treatments, NADs, and NMNs if you're sleep deprived. There's no point taking it. The science tells you up front, there's no point taking it. In fact, today, the latest science, Ranveer, is that if you're chronically stressed and sleep deprived, it even negates what workouts and what nutrition you're eating. I mean, it's clearly up there.
What is the quantification of that? Like, what does it affect if you're chronically stressed? Like, what
Chronically
factors?
stressed, you can't sleep. Inflammation, rapid aging, the opposite of what people are trying to live with longevity. So I think people have to slow down and really look at what is making us age fast. First, let's slow that down. Let's not talk about things that can make me live longer without looking at what's making us age faster. Again, chronic sleep deprivation, chronic stress, processed food, anything that inflames you. All of nature's foods are anti-inflammatory by default. So when someone comes and says, hey, Luke, give me an anti-inflammatory diet, just say, just don't eat processed, because every food that nature's given you is anti-inflammatory. So get your nutrition right. Movement, not too much, not too little. There are people who are breaking down their bodies with extreme training. There's not going to be longevity for that because there's wear and tear. There's wear and tear. I believe the longevity thing is just to make other people richer today. There'll be more replacements for your knees. There'll be more IV. So if I have to take an IV every 3-4 days to live longer, and if I'm 45 right now, or I'm 40 right now, and I'm going to live to 120, taking an IV every 3 days for longevity doesn't make sense to you. To live long. So I think I want people to break it down. I'm very open to science. I'm very open to emerging science, but I will define to you, based on biology, anatomy, non-debatable, what longevity can really be for us. We have the sympathetic nervous system, fight and flight, and we have the parasympathetic, which is rest, digest, and repair. If I want longevity, depending on what my time on this planet is, because that's also not in our control. There's something called fate. If you're destined to go, you're going to go no matter how many cold plunges you took. People forget that because there's a product, marketing, manipulative marketing. But if I wanted to live longer, I would simply do one thing. Spend more time in the parasympathetic nervous system, because that is the nervous system that has the ability to repair me better than any supplement.
So what actions allow you to spend more time there?
Calmness, breath work, slowing down. Of course, we'll get stressed, but how quickly can I come back to parasympathetic? Had a heavy workout, I'm in sympathetic, followed by deep relaxation, parasympathetic. So the longevity green print is how quickly can I get into the parasympathetic nervous system and how long can I stay there? So if I am sleeping 7-8 hours of sleep, That's 7-8 hours in the parasympathetic nervous system. That's where the body heals you while you sleep. If I'm eating a meal slowly rather than stressed, parasympathetic nervous system. Now I could be eating the worst meal. It's all junk. I got some aerated drinks. I got everything. But I'm still eating slowly, peacefully, no guilt. I can move into the parasympathetic nervous system. I keep doing that crap, I'm going to get sick. So that's why I always tell people, why you'd rather be so extreme? Enjoy your crap once in a way, but be in the right system. So parasympathetic is when you're with loved ones, social connections, doing something with purpose. You can't be creating purpose when you're in the sympathetic nervous system. You're only reacting and responding. Sympathetic, fight and flight. So the magic word is always going to be, how can I move into So I want to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to work 16 hours a day. Fine, do it. But how can I still spend more time in the parasympathetic nervous system? How can I do things that keep me in the parasympathetic nervous system? I can build, I can be a leader, but I can be watching my breathing while I'm in a difficult meeting. Slow breathing, cortisol low, parasympathetic nervous system. This is the intelligence of the human body. And because we've hijacked the parasympathetic nervous system, most people are aging more and more. Way faster than they should.
So many things to say. I don't know why I'm saying this in this particular episode, but it's also been a big learning of the last 10 years of my life. I'm not saying this to look down upon anyone, but it's just societal observation speaking. So I've noticed that there's two kinds of people that I consciously try staying away from. One's the obvious one, the negative one that pulls you down, that, is like always telling you won't be able to do it. But the second one is what I call people kind of in the middle of the healing journey. Okay? So one of the most important life lessons is that the only people who will try making you feel insecure are the people who've not been able to figure out how to deal with their own insecurities. And very often they have good intent. But the fact is that their hearts and minds are kind of in this pool of their own insecurities. And that's what's manifesting as their words, and they're trying to pull down other people around them without understanding that that's what they're trying to do. So I've consciously started to pull away from even these good-hearted people with good intent but who spread their insecurity. Be it from a team building perspective or be it from a social perspective. It's helped me tremendously because I know that in my own career and my own life, I've moved forward by just focusing on what's in the now and what's in my own destiny and me moving forward. But the larger point I'm trying to make here is that this same element of insecurity is very, very widespread in modern day society. That's what manifests as Reddit rumors. That's what manifests as Instagram trolling, Twitter trolling, all these things. So I think it's a very relevant human skill to learn. You need to be able to sift through the human beings you allow around you. Because that's the other element of darkness that we just highlighted. That I do believe other human beings can place their own internal darkness into your mind. And the goal is to stay in your parasympathetic nervous system.
Thanks for sharing that. That's powerful what you said. There are two ways of looking at it. I believe that almost every human being, I would love to say almost, I would love to say every, they have good intent. But their wounds have become more powerful than their intent. That wound is insecurity as well. They have good intent, like you rightly said. You actually said something really powerful. That there's this, they have good intent, but yet they have insecurity. Everyone is behaving according to the wounds that they have. That insecurity has probably come from how they were made to feel when they were children, depending on their, childhood, their parenting, or whether they got bullied or rejected when they were teens in their first relationships. Everyone's carrying their wounds. All right. So when these people with wounds see people around them who's thriving, and you don't have to be super successful. You're super successful. You don't have to be super successful. Someone's even just got a little bit more than them. Because notice that these people operating from their wounds of insecurity, they're not attacking people who are suffering or who are, not in a derogatory way, below them. They're only attacking people who have something a little bit more than them or a lot more than them. It's a wound. Yes, while we stay away from them and understand, we also have to understand that social media has made a ton of people into cowards. What do I mean by this? I mean, you get the same people who troll you on in front of you to say the same thing, they can't do it. But because they're protected, they're sitting in their comfort of their own home, and they have this thing that I'm powerful. I can be who I want to be and say who I want to, and say what I want to say, right? Like Mike Tyson says something beautifully when he got trolled massively on social media. He says it's easy, there's a big difference between being a coward in the comfort of your own home and actually getting punched in a ring. Huge difference. I thought that was like super powerful. So a lot of people who are like, succeeding because of their hard work and doing things the right way, they will always be pulled down. And I mean, this is something I read somewhere too, a long time ago, and it stayed with me. Everything is noise around us. The people who don't like us, I mean, I know it hurts. Let's be honest. It hurts. But the point is, they don't even know how to like themselves. They don't even like themselves. How can they like other people? So that always comes into mind. These people, they don't like themselves. How can they like you? It is difficult. Let's be honest about that. We get trolled heavily for so many different things. Like the easiest thing, I'll say it right now on our beautiful podcast right now. The easiest way for me to get trolled, okay, is wish the Prime Minister happy birthday. You'll get messages from people who say, we will rape your daughter. They'll say, you're training your daughter to be a Modi bitch. They will go through the extreme, because just think about it. You wish the Prime Minister happy birthday. You make the mistake of responding to one or two of these people. And I didn't even know what Reddit is because I don't put myself into negative things. Okay, I got to notice from my team, oh, Luke is blowing up on Reddit, people, whatever. All I had to do was take out one post of that person who said, you're training your daughter to be a Modi bitch by liking the Prime Minister. All right? And I could have had things the way I want to and made the world wake up to see what's on the other side. But the smart thing is, don't feed it. So the point is, of course, these things hurt. I'm not evolved to say that, oh, I'm going to detach and it's not going to hurt me and stuff like that. We have people trolling us all the time. The second best way to get trolled in this country, all right, heal a patient who's on a liver transplant list, waiting to get a transplant for the liver. Can take 6 months, 1 year. But hey, they're changing their lifestyle. They're doing everything their doctor said. They're changing their lifestyle, their nutrition, etc. By the time they get a call for the liver and they have to go through a medical checkup, the doctor says, you're no longer a candidate of the liver. Your liver's doing way, way better. You put up a story like this with the inputs of the medical team that worked a beautiful story, and the next day you're trolled by another community who are medical professionals. I'm giving you examples of how our country works, how humans work. So you have to understand what triggered that person. You've not done anything wrong. The point is, if you and I ever do something wrong or we've done something wrong, there's a law. Let the law play its role. The point is, these people will come in from insecurity. So we've learned to understand at the wound level, they're insecure. Is it worth fighting back? No. What do you get? You can't change their security by fighting back. 2, just see it as noise. It's noise, it's noise. Don't give it a name, don't call them names or whatever. Just noise. Do you want noise in your life? No. Then you start getting better at just letting noise be noise and actually focusing and really trying to focus on all the good things. Because I'll be honest with you, when these things happen, you naturally forget about all the good things happening. You forget about all the amazing things people have said to you, but your mind is only picking up on that one threat who has gone and trolled you. Why? Because the mind is always trying to figure out safety. So it's all insecurity and wounds. And honestly, it's a difficult thing to handle. It messes you up. But it's noise. And what do you do with noise? You try to cut noise out. You don't try to fight it. Right? That's one way I've looked at these things. But most people's insecurities are from their wounds. It only limits them after a while. The reel that tries to pull you down, not you, hypothetically anyone.
Or
right?
just me.
How long? No, whatever. Yeah, I didn't want to make it look that way, but all of us have had those reels trying to pull us down at macro levels.
Yeah.
Let 24 hours pass. Let 48 hours pass. And the most low vibrational people are still vibrating like that for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months. Everyone else has forgotten and gone on with it.
Yeah.
That's how it is,
It was one of the big lessons this year. Like, I remember there was a countless number of reels and pieces made about how my career's over. And I'm like, have you not seen the last 10 years? I've survived for 10 years. Who says I won't survive for another 10? But then you kind of go back to those pages and you see them still making content about you. And then you realize, okay, your name's just being used as a...
You know, when you went through that that controversy, I can't tell you how many people would have been happy for what you were going through. And trust me, there would also be a lot of well-wishers, not all.
Yeah.
That is how life is.
Yeah.
No one, it's very difficult to find someone who is genuinely happy for you. And I'm not talking about your family and my family. And trust me, people should be aware that sometimes that jealousy comes from within your own family, your own success. I've seen this in my own patients who have built business empires, and their biggest threats are their own family members. So we have to understand this. The more they're going after you is because you're doing something right. If you're doing something wrong, we would all face our, the way of the law. But it's because you have something or you've created something that they have not been able to do. And because it's valuable, they're attacking you. Do they ever attack people of less value?
Yeah.
Or people who have nothing, no value? No. Never. So I love the way you bounce back. I have to say that right now.
Thanks.
I saw something. Honestly, my time on Instagram is 7 minutes in a day. 7 minutes. I post, I go, I check one or two things because I do follow biologists, certain people. Check. I have 7 minutes. I have a beautiful team. Shout out to my social media team that is actually on social media. Although I tell them you don't need to see other stuff. Just do your work and get off social media. But the little that I saw when that was happening, I did remember sending you a note as well out of concern, etc. But my point is, the way you bounce back, I think that is resilience. That is resilience, and it was not it was not easy for you to do what you did. Most people wouldn't be able to do it.
Thank you, bro.
So I think that's fantastic, and it's your journey. Like I said, we're never going to be our strongest. We're getting stronger every day. We can never say that, oh, this is my strongest part in my life. There is going to be something else that hits us down. We can hope it's not going to be bad, but we're going to have to always learn to pick ourselves up. Separate the noise, and just keep moving on.
Yeah. What a teacher this period of strife was. What a teacher it was. And there's no other way to learn life than to actually go through it.
Absolutely.
Or to learn human beings than to go through things and then see their reactions. You understand, who the real friends are, who... I've said all these things multiple times, but my larger point I'm making here is that this is what mental fitness means. Like just the ability to go forward, but first and foremost through knowledge.
Yeah.
And I think this is the end of the episode pretty much. I'd just like to summarize with a few key points that I've learned today. Because it's been 2 years since my last meeting with you, and we've not really spoken the last 2 years for the sake of these podcasts.
Right.
Honestly, that's what my perspective is. So it always begins with the boring stuff. The stuff that you've been telling people for a decade now. Exercise, sleep well, eat unprocessed food as far as possible. Next, the subconscious mind and its programming is one of the most key things you'll ever do in your own lifetime. Therefore, consume the right kind of content, hang out with the right kind of people.
Yes.
Next,
And find the strength to exit relationships or groups that don't work for you. It's not easy. Find that strength. It could have a huge impact on your mental and physical health.
I guess that's the end of the episode. This has never happened. वो खोल दे. Cameras are still rolling? Yeah. So just open the... Wow.
But we still have light in the room.
This has never happened. Hold it. Pura. That light. Sorry about
As
that.
organic as it can be. No, I think it's amazing.
Wow.
I think it's amazing.
Okay. I can't believe this has happened, but we're keeping it raw.
Cool.
Can't believe this is a part of our podcast, but I'm looking at this as a positive sign. Thank you, Luke Coutinho.
Thank you so much.
Any final points you'd like to mention in this subconscious mind programming, other than what we've already spoken about?
Yeah, I think just bring awareness to it. I mean, we have one life, it's short. Your mind is your most powerful drug. Again, I know most people are waiting for the fitness parts, etc. Keep it simple. All right, you fall off track with your health goals, just get back on track the next day. You ate badly today, tomorrow's a new day, change it. Bring that awareness in, make the change. Keep it simple. Focus on the things that matter. The things that matter today are memories. How many memories can you create in life? Not one of my dying patients ever speak about who they were, what money they had, which car they drove. They talk about lost love. They talk about regrets, and they talk about memories that they made. They thrive on that. And if that's what people are talking about when they're dying, we should be building our life on these things that really matter when our time comes.
Okay. The final point I'd just like to highlight again is the point we began with, which is Providence. Believe in a power higher than yourself that'll come to help you when you're least expecting it, but it's more likely to come to help you when you feel a certain sense of gratitude.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Luke.
Thank you so much.
Lots of love always.
Thank you. Likewise.
Glad to have done this pretty iconic piece because of what happened thanks to destiny. I guess it's a very important piece for the internet. Thank you, Luke. Lots of love.
Thank you. Thank you so much.